Hi everyone, so welcome to Knackler's workshop. Today we're going to have a look at, I've spent some time setting up the screw cutting attachment on the Unimat SL. I've got this camera and this camera set up just to try and see if I can walk you through the process, because you know, I'm sure you're all intelligent enough to work it out, but it is a bit fiddly, so I thought maybe a little video may help everyone. So basically this part here is all the screw cutting attachment, and you have these formers which are the thread pitch that your desired ones. So there are different ones. So the one you can see on here at the moment is a metric one, a 0.1 pitch. Yeah. So so the first thing you have to do is, if you remember from a video where I showed about dismantling one of the chucks for the Unimat SL, this is the back plate, the black bit. So you have to undo the 3 screws here, and you take that off, and you need slightly longer screws because you put the back plate here and it goes through the holes. So the back plate drops in there, and then the longer screws, so they're 30mm screws rather than 25, the standard one, will then go through and hold that back plate, and then that allows you to screw it onto the spindle. Now, so that's fairly easy to do once you know how to do it. One of the things you need to do, if you've got the screw cutting attachment, you can't use that at the same time, because you have to push the spindle as far forward as you can without the pulleys rubbing on the bracket here. So once you push that through, then you need to fit the screw cutting attachment to it. And what I found was this dimension here is around about 20mm. So that's important, because you don't want, you need to be able to, effectively how it works is this will has the same thread pitch, and will just follow along this, basically tracing it, and then your cutting tools here which will then cut the thread. So you need to ensure that when it comes back, because it's I don't know whether we can see with the other camera, it's sprung loaded, so you need to ensure that this won't hit the chuck, and you also need to make sure that this bracket doesn't hit the chuck as well. Now, one of the things you need to also consider is the spindle speed. Now let me have a just look on this other camera. Let me just move this over. If we look on this, my setup here, I've got the extended, it's a double pulley bracket, so we've got four gear wheels. So this allows me to reduce the speed down to 150, I think it's 155 revs a minute, which will make it a whole lot easier to do. So it's worth trying to pick, if you plan on using the screw cutting attachment, it's worth trying to get hold of one of these ones to reduce the speed. Okay, so let me just move that back there so we can try and see what's going on. So once you've got this set up and you've got the 20mm gap there, I took the tailstock off. Let's have a look. So the tailstock came off, and what that allowed me, let me move this camera around so we can see here. Yeah, so I took the tailstock off, put this bracket here on at the end of the ways, and then just put the tailstock back on. If I move that up, So this is just a piece of Delrin, just blued it up. Put a centre in there because you've got to remember this is, we're actually, obviously you need as much support as possible. You also need to take your tool post off, or your tool post. So we've taken that one off. You don't need that. So you've got that set up, you've got that set so it's pretty much at the beginning, not rubbing the chuck. You've positioned this, because this unscrews, so you can position that just over your cross slide. I forgot, I was thinking it was a compound slide. Cross slide. And so then really you're pretty much in a position where you want to cut a screw. So this is your cutting tool, and you've got it, it's sort of, it's in the same orientation if it was here, but you just moved it around here, so it's on top. So for me to try and show you what to do, I'm going to take the belt off here so we can just do it by hand. Well, we're attempting to do it by hand. Now, you can use this one, there's an adjustment here, so that keeps that pretty much, it's like a stop really, to stop you going too far down. And then you've got a fine adjustment here as far as lowering it to get your the right depth for your thread. Now, as far as I can see, all the same rules apply if you were just doing single point threading on a normal, in the more conventional way, that you would bring the diameter of your workpiece down to the appropriate size for you to cut the thread. You'd then set it all up like this, and then you would put your appropriate grind your tool to 55 degrees, 60 or whatever it needs to be. Just everything's in exactly the same way as that. Once you set it up here, you then just carry on going along, cutting your thread, and as on a normal thread cutting, you would index the tool in to cut a bit more, and then you just keep going until you've got the right size. Well, likewise with this, you just push that, adjust it with the fine feed here. Okay, so let me, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to do this, but we'll try. Let's try. So we're going to just pull this across slightly. So I've got a bit of tension on there, and we're going to put that onto the, so I'm just holding that there. And now let's, so we'll just turn the spindle, trying to get out of the way. So we can see it's moving along the former there. So you obviously can only cut a thread that long. I'm not actually sure how hard to press this. And likewise, everything's coming along. But you can imagine if this was running at a very high spindle speed, it will be quite a challenge to manage it. So having the reduction gear to drop it down to 155 is a distinct advantage. Okay, so we got to the end there. So if I just lift that up, now I haven't got much of a cut on there, but you can see we started to form a thread. So let's, I'm not sure which way you go with this. And I think we may have just lost one of the cameras. Okay. Okay. So I'll probably tighten that too much because we're now getting quite a some swarf coming off here. Hopefully you can see it. Right. That'll do for the moment. Okay. So as we can see here, we've now, let me see if I can wake this other camera up again. Okay, so let's move that in. We can see, or hopefully we can, that we've got a thread formed there. So basically that's how it goes. So you would just keep going until you've got the relevant depth, and away you go. Now that's fine because that's for an external thread, but it does suggest you can do an internal thread. So if you would bore the hole, instead of having your cutting tool, you replace that with this, and then you have your, well, that's a boring tool, but you would have a, with the appropriate grind on there for the for your thread cutting, and then you just bring that in, and then as previously, when you get to the end, you just lift that up. So, but obviously that's in the hole, and that should lift away from it. Now, I'm a little bit dubious about this, and I need to have an experiment to see how that works. So that's really pretty much it on showing you how this works. It's pretty easy once you get it set up, but it's just important. There's a lot of messing around to ensure you've got that with the 30mm bolts, so you can screw the former onto the spindle, and you definitely want to make sure you've got something around about 20mm gap there. Okay, so when we're going to see it really in action? Well, I'm putting together another playlist because, as you can see, the Unimat's looking pretty good now, and pretty much ready to rock and roll. So I'm putting together a new playlist with of the Unimat in action. So we just try all the different functionality, the power feed, proper thread cut, and internal and external. Yeah, just everything that it can do, and then we try it with different materials and such like. So we should see a bit more of this and actually see whether we can truly make a thread. But early indications looking at that is that we probably will be okay. Yeah. Okay, all right, well, that's about it for this one. So as normal, stay happy, strong and healthy, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheerio.